Yo, what's up guys? We're on the first episode of the Everything What's Wrong With Your account, also known as EW. Yeah. First account that we have is Mild Risk. Well, I guess he is a mild spender as well by the looks of his crystals, but there's a reason I chose this account in particular. There were a lot of submissions and I highly want to thank you guys for that. But what I was looking for the first episode is someone that has a problem that more people would walk into. And one of those problems is, sure, there's a bunch of people that could say, it's like, oh, I can't really get my dungeon teams working. There's a whole bunch of guides out there. Or sure, I don't really know how to rune up this or that. There's a bunch of guides out there. Sure, there's definitely some people that can help out with that. But he actually had a different problem. And the problem was actually something that is very understandable. And his problem is the following, which is a problem that I think a lot of people walk into. If you're farming a lot of runes, which is relatively easy to do, especially with 30 times farming, you just keep farming on something on those sides. But at some point you get into that issue which says you're out of rune storage. And actually did just check his account. He's actually not out of rune storage right now, but he still has that feeling like, okay, I'm just hoarding things. And I'm just hoarding things. I'm not upgrading. I'm not progressing. I'm not improving. What should I be doing to improve, upgrade, and to progress in your account? Because currently he kind of feels stuck, as in like, sure, I'm kind of getting upgrades from time to time. I'm trying to get like a bunch of quad rolls. I'm trying to get a bunch of things over here and there. But it's not really improving or upgrading. And I definitely do think that that is an issue that a lot of people are stuck in. And I already see this with the grinds and the gems. And I'm going to be talking about that later. But let's first look at the runes. So if you first of all check your speeds for examples, like, okay, what kind of speeds are we rocking with? Definitely not that crazy. We're just looking at like 19s and those kind of things for Swift. I'm not sure if he's more of a Swift or a Vio farmer. Let's actually see for Vio. We're looking at 22s over here. Okay, not that crazy. Definitely not something that if you have this kind of rune quality that I would say you have to be keeping 5,000 runes already. You could probably be selling a lot more and being more focused on like what should you keep, what should you not keep. Best tip I can give is if you don't want to grind it, sell it. And that might sound pretty harsh, but to be honest, current day and age, it's very easy to get a lot of, and really a lot of good runes. But getting a lot of good grinds to also put on those runes definitely makes it a lot harder. So, for example, here, one of those runes that we see over here, would you actually be using this? Probably not. Just sell it. Same thing over here. What is, well, this, okay, I give argument for that. That is still fine. This one over here, double roll or single roll, it's kind of okay-ish. Like, I wish that there was something where you could just simply say, it's like, oh, if you have above or below X certain rune score, then it's a sell, then it's a keep or not. But it's simply not really the case. It's a little bit more fine line between, it's like, okay, what is good, what is not good. Something like this, for example, would you ever put ancient grinds to this? Like, how many ancient grinds do you have? Like, you have 2, 5, and 4. Sell that shit, man. Brother, you're never going to be ever grinding that. If you were planning on grinding that, you would be wasting your grinds. And I think that is an approach that a lot more people should be looking at. Like, hey, I don't want to be grinding this, so I maybe just should start selling this. And especially if you select it by this power up level, and we select by the auto ordering, and then you probably have a lot of these kind of things. Like I see a whole bunch of accounts, like sure, he's using a lot of his storage, which is really useful, putting everything to rainbow mods. But look at this, start selling this crap, man. Like who the hell is going to use rainbow rolls on heroes? No one, no one. Like rainbow rolls on legendaries? Maybe. This kind of stuff, no one's really going to use that. Like, if you want a stat like this, it either has to be a legendary, or it has to be something where you already know the final roll, or it has to be a stat that makes sense for guard. If this was like a crit damage in here of 14, maybe you could put it somewhere, but most of the time, just start selling that crap. Same as this, like 27s, just straight up start selling that crap. Let's look at targets that are more like, ooh, more on edge Vios. Rainbow rolls in Vios. Rainbow rolls is like 90% of the time on heroes, straight up a sell. Maybe in your 2, 4, and 6, you want to be a little bit more specific on saying like, okay, maybe I can keep something in there. But I would say start selling a lot of those. This flat HP, are you ever going to put a 5 grind on this? Of course not. Fucking sell it. This one over here is arguably something that would be worth towards somewhat of a thing to be using. But then it's also the high recommendation is, sure, you have like the numbers sit in here, but that doesn't really help you that much. Put in the grind priority, go through all of your runes, put them in grind priority, because that is the only way that you're actually going to put grinds on them. If you don't put them in the grind priority by the tags over there, you're just simply never going to grind them, and you're just hoarding things that just never do any good. And I would say that he actually has pretty good numbers. I don't really care about the first 3 that don't really work. Synergy is probably something like, it's sure, it's not that high of a efficiency, but it's still pretty useful. And then it's still something you can actually use. But the main thing is, all of these 19 speeds, that kind of stuff, you're probably never going to be using it. Also, looking at legendaries, one of those things, sure, there's a little bit of speed in there, sure, there's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but it's definitely one of those things, if you don't feel like grinding it, like for example, this one, could you grind it? Yeah. Is it that interesting? No, unless you actually full grind it. So if you're not planning to grind it, pretty much just sell it. And that actually also comes to my next thing, which I think you were saying you were hoarding a lot of runes, but I think hoarding this is probably even a bigger issue. Sure, you made a lot of buyments, or sure, you did buy like the maximum amount of storage on that, but looking at something like this, what the hell is this? This is the maximum amount of things you can actually start change, or these are the maximum amount of things that you can actually look into. And sure, oh, you can actually select those. That's kind of new. I'm not sure if that was already in there. Helps out a little bit to figure that out. But the thing is, that is the thing I don't really like in this game at the moment. You cannot really change anything in here. For example, this is a really good rune. Like, this is absolutely usable. But the big issue is finding this one is a little bit harder. So for that reason, it is nice to go through all of your runes that are just in normal. Just selected everything that is not selected in here. And just simply go through everything. Let's see, it's like, okay, what kind of runes do I get with a high score? Should I be grinding those more? Or maybe even sub-property before grinds or anything like that. Start locking those in here, what you do want to use. Everything that is not locked in here, technically, is a sell. Because everything that's not locked in here is a rune that you're not sure of if you're going to use it ever. And if you're not sure of using it ever, just sell the thing. Sure, give everything a try, which he did actually do as well, to up things to a +6 or +9. Absolutely the case. Rune selection absolutely helps with that. But the big issue in this game is we don't have the rune selection just yet, where it makes it interesting enough to see all of the stats right away. For example, for artifacts, it's really simple. It's like, oh, you see this kind of thing. It is crap, just sell it. Oh, it's not better than something I already have. It's crap, sell it. Issue with runes is you still have to plus everything. I'm praying to the day where we get runes either select multiple and up everything at the same time, or just instantly have a +12 the moment you get it. I don't care what kind of shape, way, or kind of form Summoner's War does that. But the best way, once again, to get rid of all of your crap and not hoard anything. And actually, to be honest, he said that he was like pretty bad at hoarding, but you have 700 slots that you can farm into. It's not that bad in the first place. Also, one of those things, if you have enough slots, you might as well just kind of keep it. But I think the biggest issue is not necessarily the hoarding for him. The issue for him is like, where do I put my grinds? Because he's having an insane amount of grinds. He's been farming for definitely a fair bit. But he's like, okay, I don't really want to grind the things that are bad. And the best way to get through all of the things, like, what do you want to grind, is put up these things with the grind priority. Yes, it does take a fair bit of time. Yes, it is definitely annoying. Too bad I can't tell you that's like, oh, if they're above like X amount of rune quality on the base, that should be a keep, should not be a keep. Because there's a lot of in-betweeners, like a 2, 4, and 6 has more value on certain stats. What if their stats of, let's say you're looking at a Swift one and it has super high attack, but it also has flat attacks next to them and a bunch of other things, then suddenly it has more value because of the synergy and those kind of things. So the only thing that you can actually do is simply just sit here, go through, is this useful? Would I ever put grinds on this? Not sure. Make a tab, not sure. Next one, this one. Would I ever put grinds to this? Not sure. Okay, this one. Would I ever put grinds to it? Could be a grindable. This one, would I put grinds to it? It's not that bad. Let's put it the other way around. This one, would I ever put grinds to this? That. Could be kind of weird. Could be maybe a something, but probably not. This, would I ever put grinds to that? Probably not. It's a freaking blue loon. Blah. Buy. Sell that shit. Next one over here. We have 26 in the HP. It's pretty much a blue rune. Buy. And that's the way you kind of want to go through all of your runes. And then you also want to do that for the things that you at some point locked in, is like saying like, let's see what other tabs he had over here. We have gem and grind potential. Okay. Not sure what triple plus plus means. I think it was these. We should be looking at 6 and 7. So we go over here. Is it grinded? Okay. Then it's also the thing, if it's a grind priority, if you still want to grind it, keep it in there. But the moment you're done, put it in wherever you want to put it, that you say is locked, like these. Sure, they have grind priority, but then also you can do it the other way around. Moment that you start grinding, because I think he has definitely been neglecting on using his grinds. If we go into the grinds, over here, yes sir, we go into the one that is selected the most. We go into the one that he's been hoarding the most of, so the one over here, attack. We do select, once again, we select the 6 and the 7, and we just check, like, okay, you put this in a 6 or 7, but you haven't grinded it yet. That's why you start grinding them. You have 37. You click this stupid thing until it's a 7. You put it in a grind priority or a good grind spot anyways, so that's why you just rock this in until it's a 7. Do you feel like that's wasting it? Well, farm more R5 then, because that's just a simple way to do it. This is where this stupid thing where you just keep clicking this thing, well, I don't want to waste all of them because I think he needs more spots than that. But that is the spot where you do actually get improvements. That is where you get account improvement, rather than just keeping like 37 in here. So actually in here, he doesn't have any. And why does he not have any in here? Well, there's probably plenty of targets if we select everything. We go from 0 targets to 174 targets. Why are those 174 targets? Because none of these runes are actually tagged for us like, okay, should I grind them? Should I not grind them? And the thing is, simply make tags for things like, I am not sure if I should upgrade them. What if there's a future unit that might actually use that? What if there is a this or a that if you actually want to use that? Sure, something like this, like, oh, it's a good one roll, good double roll next to the other. It is not bad. Sure, you could put this on the Sarath if you get one, if you ever get a Sarath in the first place. There's not too many that actually use that. But just for the idea of it, yes, sure, there are runes that would actually use that. But same over here, you got 142 fatal runes that you could grind on. How many are actually locked in for you to want to grind on? Absolute 0. Why are you saving 142 runes with this? What is this? This is blue. Start selling that shit. You can actually sell things. That's the bad part. You cannot sell from here. It would be really nice if you could sell things from here as well. Would be nice if they add in a few things like this. What the hell is even this? What is this? Why do I fight 3 fatal runes? There are 4 fatal runes that are near identical, the same, and absolute garbage. That is the thing you want to start selling. And that's also a thing why I cannot make an exact line or an exact guide of saying it's like, oh, if you are above X threshold, you should be selling X, Y, or Z. It's kind of a fine line. Like, sure, fatal, attack, slot 1. How many do you actually need? Well, at some point, you already notice, let's say, what is the highest one you have? Highest one you have, other way around, is a 26. Okay, that's definitely not that high. But you're also keeping way too many of those. Like, at some point, you just notice, well, you can also just put it on before grind. You notice that you have, like, freaking, I don't know how many of those. You don't need that many. Just start selling them. Whereas this, for example, is like, yo, this is a rune. Now we're kind of talking. Put speed over here. Decent efficiency. Sure, fatal is not the crazy one to have that out. But 3 of max, 3 of max. This is a decent rune. That is why we say it's like, yo, gem and grind that stuff. And the best way to find those, I would say, is probably sub-property before grinds, or you go on the score of everything that is not selected in one of the tabs already. Because if you go on the score and you select it by highest over here, sure, you're going to be finding some grinded spots if you did already do some grinded spots, but you're also going to be finding these kind of things. What the hell is even this? You can actually sell things right now when it's already equipped on the unit, which does make your life a little bit easier. But yes, there's a lot of stuff to sell, especially in the quadrants where you get a Fatal or Blade or Guard or all of those kind of things. Because let's actually see how many runes does he have in each. So he does have most in Violent. That makes sense. After that, it's Despair. Well, Violent, Swift, Despair, Will does make a lot of sense. Shield, well, I'm pretty sure you're not going to need that many shield runes. I can tell you that much. You can also see it over here. It's a little bit easier. But yeah, as you can see, man, there's so many shield runes in here. And we're looking through all of those shield runes and we're like, half of it is probably really garbage where you would say it's like, absolutely, just sell it. So these are the ones on high rune score. The ones on high rune score are probably more the keeps. But the moment we selected on low rune score was this, 19 speed, sell. We don't need that shit. This one over here, 18 speed, even worse, sell. Don't keep that shit. 21 HP, what the hell is even that? We don't even like that. Triple or like rainbow roll, we don't like no rainbow rolls. This thing, what the hell is even this? It's low rolls, it's on siege, you can be mass siege. Resistance on that, no one cares about it, no triple roll. Especially for those heroes, man, it's so easy to get legendaries nowadays. It's just start selling those. This as well, it's like, what can you do with this? Speed in the next one and then put like a bunch of grinds to it? No, you're not gonna be using that shit. Over here, same thing. Well, these HPs, like, sure, if this is your highest HP, your highest slot, that kind of thing, then sure, you might be more forgiven, even if it's like the lowest rune quality out there. Because then it would be, let's say we select everything, we go by HP, we select it over here. What's the highest HP? Nope, the other way around. We're looking at a 28, then a 29, and then it's pretty much the highest already. Well, how many highest of these do you need? Well, not that many, so buy on this one. But also, if you're like, I'm not sure about this, well, defense is already in there. Defense is already in there means that we're kind of gonna have anything useless on the final roll. Anything useless on the final roll, it's just a sell, something like that. So those are the kind of things that you have to be looking at. It's like, okay, I do want to start selling my things, and sure, I think he spends a fair bit to also get all of those maxed out storages. Definitely helps out a bit. If you have too many crystals, definitely a thing you can do. But in the end, it's very important to just keep... I think this rule is just the most thing. If you don't want to grind it, maybe the... And don't expect to grind in the future. Well, let's put that over there and over there. I think that this rule, if you just follow this rule, and the not, let's change it into the want. If you don't want to put any grinds to anything, you might as well just sell it, because you're just not going to use it. And should you therefore be selling everything because you say it's like, oh, let's look at a speed example, for example. Speed anything that is not grinded. Speed example that's not grinded. Anywhere. You have been, well, this you're not going to use that, man. Yep. If you already grinded something, you might as well keep it. Like, you have enough rune storage, especially if what he's also doing, use the rune storage of also equipping things on monsters, then it's totally fine. But okay, I guess by speed, most people do actually tend to put their grinds in. That's the thing. People are still speed chasing. That's fine. But that might also be the wrong idea of saying like, oh, I just need speed, otherwise it's trash. Well, this one, for example, this one is pretty decent. Sure, it could roll higher, but are you actually going to put ancient grinds in this? Like, for ancient runes, I think you could even be more strict, because I would never, like, sure, you could make this out of a 23. Let's see what your highest will right now. You already have a 23 without, you have a bunch of those. Yeah, you're not going to put grinds to this, like, most likely not. Sure, you could put HP in here, defense in there, and then this in there. If you get too many grinds and no runes at all, it is a possibility for keep. That's more of like an edge situation where you might say it's like, ooh, that's maybe more of something that you could keep. Same for this one, 17, 12er. We're looking at 2 of max, 1 of max over there. It's kind of okay if it's not really your fastest rune out there. And you need more rune depth. But if you feel like the rune depth is kind of fine, but the rune quality is not fine, just start selling more. And especially all of those old hoarded runes, like you have something like this. Let's see, 28 on the speed. Nope, you already have way more of those, Yeah, you can just start selling those, man. You can just start selling those. So I can recommend a 2-step process for this. 1, select all of your runes that are unmarked. Go through all of the runes and either put them on the mark that you want to grind them, or you just sell them. Step number 2, which is you're going to go to your grinds. You go over here, and you're just going to select any grind you have the most amount of. And I would do this for hero. I wouldn't do it specifically for legendary. I would maybe be a little bit more precise of where you want to place them, how you want to place them. Once again, if you use the right text, those are easier to find. But then you just simply select it on like, okay, I'm going to put it on 1 tag, and I'm just going to use it on every rune I simply see until there's no runes furthermore to upgrade. Because that is also where you know it's like, oh, yeah, I'm stacking 22s of those speeds. There's still a lot of targets that I could actually use them on. But none of these targets, I'm pretty sure down the line of all of these targets, how many are actually useful that you want to place them on? Not that many. So when you use all of those, like for example, I would say this is a good target. Yeah, you want to place them on, you can put HP next to that. You just roll it until it's a 4, totally fine. You just keep pressing and smacking the thing until it's a 4, totally fine. But the moment you're done and you see at some point it's like, hey, there's actually nothing I want to grind, then you just sell the whole bunch until you have like 4 or 5 left. Which also makes you a lot of grind space, and therefore you're actually improving your account, because as long as you're not using your grinds, you're not improving your account. Because in the end, you can farm a lot of runes, you can get a lot of good runes, but you know that if you get a triple or a quad speed or whatever, as long as you don't put the grind in there, the rune is not going to be useful. Any rune in your storage that doesn't have a grind in there technically is not useful. Sure, it could be something for a future project or a future unit, but then you would have to have a separate tab in here, which does also states like, hey, this might be a future rune, or I'm not sure. That is totally fine. You don't have to start selling everything. But as long as you use this properly, and you sell everything that is just straight up trash, you give a tag to everything that you should be grinding, it makes your life a lot easier to also progress by using these grinds. Because in here, we have 174 positions where we could put those grinds on. it is impossible for me to find if A is better than B. But if you have a tier A, tier B, and tier C of grinds that you want to place into a rune, whether it's good, bad, or just kind of okay-ish or a future project, you can find those in here if you classified everything good. And sure, it definitely does take a bit of time. Sure, it's definitely one of those things that you want to sit down on a moment that you actually do have a bunch of time. But for me personally, I actually did this while watching like a bunch of series. Like series that you can kind of watch on the side. You watch Friends or you watch the new Squid Game or whatever like that. It's recommended to watch the dub version, otherwise you can't do this and follow the subtitles as well. But it's definitely recommended to at some point sit down, do something on the side, otherwise it's way too boring. Maybe also don't do everything in one go, but classify all of your runes, tag them, and then start using all of your grinds until you have no grinds left. And you might be like, oh, but what if I get an actual good rune that I want to put grinds on? That's why you keep the legendaries for. The legendaries you do want to keep for the ones that you get actually like super insane. It's like, ooh, this is like my next best thing, or like an upgrade best in slot, or equally best in slot kind of thing. That's why you use legendary grinds for. That's why I would not do this with legendary grinds. But to just improve your account depth, trust me, the moment that he uses half of this, I think his depth is probably times 1.2, and his top sets probably also improved a whole bunch, because I definitely think that it's not necessarily the issue of like, oh, what to keep, what to sell. It's more of the issue is like, oh, I'm not using my grinds, and as long as you don't use grinds, your account will never improve. Well, I think that's enough rambling for me on the first episode of EWW-YA, everything what's wrong with your account. Let me know in the comments if this is what you expected from this kind of series, or you rather have me fix a few teams and then do that kind of stuff. Personally, sure, I could go into a Giants team and fix the Giants team, but I also do think, like, there's a lot of guides on the Giants, Dragons, Necro, whatever kind of specific team out there. I would maybe be more looking towards, like, an RTA account for our next episode, and then check in, it's like, okay, these are the RTA things, this is set up, maybe I can change a few things, but it's also, once again, very meta-dependent. So, but first of all, let's see how this episode is received. I tried to find a problem that more people would walk into, so therefore also more people can relate to, rather than one account where one specific player kind of has a problem, can be fixed for him, but then other people cannot relate as much. But I definitely do think that the farming thing, in the end, we're all farming. We're all just trying to get upgrades. We're all just mindlessly farming, trying to get those speed quads. But there's a lot more runes good, except for just a speed quad or anything very specific. But you only unlock that potential when you actually start grinding those. How to grind those? Actually, first of all, classify your runes, go through them, and sell everything that's crap, so you don't have a box of 5.3k runes to go through. Because I think if I did a proper cleaning on this, I would probably be selling like 1.5 to 2k runes, maybe even 3k runes, because I just saw a lot of crap out there that is not even remotely close to your rune depth usability, or something that you would want to put grinds in. Well, that's all from me on this video. Once again, let me know in the comments what you think about this series. If it's well received, I'll be making a lot more videos. If it's not that well received, maybe it just ends with this one video. Either out, guys, thanks a lot for watching, and see you as always in the next one.
Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.